Welcome everyone to another edition of DylanLasagna Live. We are on the 67th edition of the podcast today on another otherwise pretty quiet week. Like in the world of gaming, it wasn't so quiet. There's a lot of things to talk about, but we'll get into that. Let me pull up my screen here. And welcome to another week. I am, of course, your host, DylanLasagna, on this fine Friday night. For those of you in the East, fine afternoon. For those of you on the West, some of you may be coming home from work. Some of you still may be working, but nonetheless, I am here to enlighten you and to discuss some variety things here on this Friday night. But here we are. Whew. It's getting a little warm in here, but nonetheless, make sure, if you're not already, make sure you give this live podcast episode a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure you go check out last week's podcast on the channel. We talked about when we see, it's been so long. We talked about some Nintendo Direct predictions, and we talked about WrestleMania in LA possibly being moved out of Los Angeles. So in case you missed that, it's always on the channel on demand. And then to open up today's show, we've had some good channel news. We have some good channel news that I wanted to share. Other than, obviously, I've been pushing out a little bit more content than usual this week. I did a Trials Rising gameplay. I did the CTR re-review. And then I did a SpongeBob stream on Wednesday. Even though the stream kind of crashed, like, majorly in the first hour, but like at the end of the first hour, but we did okay. We recovered, and we managed to get a lot done in SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. So if you missed that stream, it's on demand now. And we've actually won our first copyright claim war. I think it was 2 weeks ago when we did DylanLasagna Live. We did episode 65, where we talked about the then rumored July Nintendo Direct date, and then it was during the first portion of the show where we talked about WWE 2K Battlegrounds, and we showed like the latest gameplay trailer, and WWE went full ham mode, and just, you know what, like, you get a copyright claim, you all get a copyright claim, and we're gonna block it worldwide. Not worldwide, but just a partial block. And it wasn't even related to the WWE 2K Battlegrounds trailer. They marked it as something that was seen on their then most latest episode of WWE SmackDown and WWE Raw from, I think it was what was the date? July 10th and July 13th episodes of Raw. So I decided to dispute the claims, and on Wednesday I got those claims released, and I did it one by one. So I disputed the SmackDown claim first. That got released, and then as soon as that one got released, I disputed the Raw claim, and literally like 5 minutes later they released the claim. So thank goodness for that. Thank goodness. So thank you to WWE, even though you won't you're still kind of being a dick to my watch-alongs. Thank you for releasing the copyright claims for the 2K Battleground stuff. But we're still gonna talk a little bit about Battlegrounds because it was involved in the latest Nintendo Direct. But let's get into a little bit of a random tidbit this week, because there was one that actually came up like hours ago. So let me see if I can pull it up here on my screen. There it is. So, as you can see on my screen, G4, a network that some of you might not be familiar with, but from I think it was 2006 to 2014, this was one of the go-to networks for video games. So G4, it is coming, kind of making a comeback. We don't know what it's gonna have or what it's going to be producing. But I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited for G4 to come back because I missed the show. I missed shows like X Play, Attack of the Show. Those were the two flagship shows on G4. I'm not sure what other shows were on there, but it does say it did cover Comic-Con and E3 and all that. And yeah, it was taken off the air on 2014 for Esquire. For Esquire and I don't know what's in its place now, but there's probably a lot of things here. But G4 making a comeback I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued what they're gonna do with it, and I'm kind of excited. I'm low key excited for it. I'm really low key excited for it. So that's your random tidbit for the week. I do see Butch Hartman, the creator for Fairly Odd Parents, is trending, but it doesn't seem that interesting. Oops. There we go. So now let's get into the main stuff. Let's get into the topics we're going to get to today. Most of them is going to involve Nintendo, the Nintendo Directs. The Nintendo Direct that happened on... Let me go back here. There we go. There was a Nintendo Direct that happened on this past Monday, July 20th. So, as this Kelios person predicted that it would happen, there was going to be a Nintendo Direct. However, it is not the Nintendo Direct that most people were hoping for. So, instead, what happened is that there was no announcement, prior to Sunday night. People were expecting, we might get an announcement on Friday night. We might get out of nowhere announcement on Saturday, but no, we get one on Sunday, and they announced it literally at midnight Eastern, 9:00 here. I was watching another Nintendo live podcast while I was when this announcement came out. And then Nintendo tweeted the following. On July 20th, we'll debut the first Nintendo Direct Mini. So, not the Nintendo Direct we're kind of hoping for, but, yeah. And here's the catch. Nintendo Direct Mini, the two periods, partner showcase. And this new partner showcase is a series focused on titles from our development and publishing partners. We'll share a few updates on a small group of previously announced Nintendo Switch games. And then they would release the video at 7 a.m. my time here in California. So, yes, most people should have expected that there was not going to be anything from Nintendo in this Nintendo Direct Mini. What we didn't know what was going to be in that Direct Mini, however, was the games. What possibly, which partners, which developers, non-Nintendo, could be in this partner showcase. And keep in mind, this was only going to be 10 minutes long. And how much were they going to fit in 10 minutes? There's only so much you can fit in 10 minutes. Where there are going to be less announcements than usual, or where they're going to be really rapid fire. This game gets announced, this game, and this game, then this game, then this game, then this game, then this game. Well, let's dissect this first ever partner showcase direct mini. So the first thing we got was paid DLC for Cadence of Hyrule. Let me pull it up on my screens here. Sorry. By the way, I'm using pictures because, like with Dota 2K Battlegrounds, I don't want to get struck with copyright. Oh, not that one. There we go. So we got Cadence of Hyrule DLC. Obviously, it's just a generic picture. And that there would be a physical version releasing, I think it was some point in September, if I'm correct. So, cool for those of you that liked Cadence of Hyrule. Not my cup of tea, but cool. Then we got this CSGO Overwatch clone called Rogue Company. Apparently this game has been out for a little while on other platforms, or I don't know. I don't know what to make of this game, but it's okay, I guess. Then we got to what most people were bitching about the most in the direct mini, WWE 2K Battlegrounds, because I guess John Cena was in the direct mini, the direct headline. So obviously, since I'm a wrestling fan, this kind of took me a little by surprise, because the last thing I would have thought would be in this direct Nintendo Direct Mini was 2K Battlegrounds, especially considering that this game could use a lot of work in terms of game modes, but apparently, yeah, it's in the direct. So what we got from 2K Battlegrounds was a brief new voice line from Mauro Ranallo, the NXT play-by-play man. Then we get a glimpse of what the not what the gameplay looks like, because we already know what it's gonna look like, but what the HUD is gonna look like. So we got a glimpse of what the HUD is gonna look like. So it looks like it kind of looks similar to All Stars, but now instead of a increasing finisher bar, you see these three ability squares, sort of say. So I guess each wrestler will have three different abilities unique to them. And then they'll have a depleting health bar like they did in All Stars, I guess. But yeah, not much new gameplay was shown outside of the new, if you really nitpick, the new HUD, the new wrestler HUD. I mean, honestly, you didn't really need the wrestler, who was in the trailer? Asuka, Cesaro, and the New Day. You didn't need them splicing in and out to showcase how great or cool, and this is being facetious, sarcastic. You didn't need them spliced into the trailer because this game does not look promising. But I could be wrong. But yeah, it was a little surprise. That caught a lot of people off guard that W2K Battlegrounds was going to be in there. And yeah, even for me as a WWE fan, I don't know. I don't really think that should have been in there, but it's in there. It was in there. Then last but not least, we got the rest of the Direct Mini showcase. Half of it was dedicated to weeb stuff. Yeah, that's what I'm going to call it. Weebo stuff. Not to hate on the anime folk, people that like anime, but we got news about Shin Megami Tensei 3 that's getting a remaster, I guess, and then we got news about people that like Shin Megami Tensei 5 that have been clamoring it for almost 3 years now. They got news on that's coming sometime in 2021. But yeah, that was pretty much the partner showcase. So, I mean, unless if you like this Direct Mini, like for the weeby anime stuff that was Shin Megami Tensei, then this was really bad. This was a really bad Nintendo Direct. Like, why did Nintendo even like call it a Nintendo Direct? They should have just called it a partner showcase. Like they should have just called it a partner showcase and like leave the Nintendo Direct brand name out of it. It kind of like ruins the name Direct, like Nintendo Direct, because I don't know. This just feels off. It like one of 4 games that were really like good for people. Yikes. That's not a good look. So again, let's dissect what we got from this Direct. Like step by step. Cadence of Hyrule, the rhythm game that got paid DLC, still getting support, and it's getting a physical release. I mean, again, not everyone's cup of tea. Rogue Company, a battle royale shooter clone that's reminiscent of Counter-Strike Go. WWE 2K Battlegrounds. We've seen this game countless times in like the last couple of weeks. And again, as much as a WWE fan I am, we didn't really see anything at all that's new, except for like very small nitpicky stuff. And do I even need to talk about Shin Megami Weepsay? No disrespect to the fans of RPGs and anime, but I'm glad you got your game. But I just don't have interest in this at all. I really don't. But I'm glad you got your game. But if you're not a fan of neither of these games, then this direct absolutely sucked. So what do I have to say about this Direct Mini showcase overall? All I can say is Nintendo had a chance. If they wanted to show like third-party games, cool. They could have done that in this showcase. Yes, it is a series, but they failed to kick it off with a bang. They could have addressed like games that are supposed to come out, like Bravely Default, Doom Eternal. That's literally been in eternal like development hell. Apparently, and then Lego Star Wars. And, I mean, I guess I can understand Shin Megami Tensei. That's been stuck in development hell for like the longest time. But sadly, they just put their foot on the wrong pedal with this pilot. Now, granted, there are more that's coming. I don't know when the next one is, but hopefully it comes soon. But yeah, there were a lot of dislikes with this partner showcase, and I don't know if it was people that were genuinely upset by this Direct, or it was just Nintendo fanboys getting their hopes up again. And I think it's the latter, you know. And we should have gone in. A lot of people should have gone into this Direct knowing that Nintendo was not going to show anything like related to the sequel to Breath of the Wild, Bayonetta 3, even the Mario remasters, none of that. But Nintendo's publishing partners, Nintendo themselves, should have gone in with a bang to start with this little series. I'm going to go into this little series a little bit later because I do think there's something that can be made out of it. But who knows? I think Kelios made a good point here that Nintendo wanted to start off with the sour stuff. Like, they wanted to start with the shitty stuff first and then unpack with the much greater stuff. So, we'll see. Um, I again, it's a series. It's a series of like direct minis, but it was just a terrible pilot. It was a terrible pilot. So I keep bringing up this like direct mini partner showcase format because even though it was a terrible pilot, I do think that it could hint to it being a future format. So let's take a look at what Nintendo America's Senior Vice President of Publisher and Developer Relations, Steve Singer, said at more partner showcases for 2020. And he said, and I quote, "With this new Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase, we are delighted..." Okay, good, my mic's... I thought my mic was muted. "With this new Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase, we are delighted to be shining a spotlight on great games from our developer and publishing partners. With multiple showcases this year, we can continue highlighting the breadth of games and the variety of experiences all types of players can get on Nintendo Switch." So this goes back to my initial one of my points I made. The first partner showcase didn't really have the content that I would say most people didn't like. I mean, if you're a fan of Shin Megami Tensei, then this was the direct for you. But even if you were a WWE fan that's somehow excited for WWE 2K Battlegrounds, then yeah, this one was a fail. This partner showcase was a failure. But that doesn't mean, in theory, having a series of presentations like this one is a good way to present what's coming for the rest of 2020. But this goes back to why people were upset about the partner showcase in the first place. They weren't upset because they didn't get what they wanted. They were upset because the titles in there had no place being there if Nintendo wasn't going to show anything new. So, here's the thing. I know it says in here that in Nintendo's initial tweet regarding the partner showcase that says, "We'll share a few updates on a small group of previously announced Nintendo Switch games." The thing is, you could do that, but they need that wasn't really much of an update. It's if third party is not going to show anything new to Nintendo, if they're not paying Nintendo to show anything new, Nintendo shouldn't allow that little snippet of gameplay, that little trailer, to be in the partner showcase in the first place. But I do think that even with this third party stuff, Nintendo has the potential to spread out these announcements through their partner showcase without having to rely so much on the directs. Now, as much as I do like the Nintendo Directs, the mainline ones, we often see games that aren't that interesting to the casual or even some core gamers. Like, for example, I have to go back to the wellness one, Shin Megami Tensei 5. Like, I don't care about that. Now, that's just me and a vocal minority, but it's like only the hardcore gamers are gonna have their eyes peeled on Shin Megami Tensei. So, I do think that this is a good idea if Nintendo executes it well. And it brings me to think, once we head out of 2020 and this global pandemic, like fully, I wonder if this partner showcase format is going to be one that Nintendo takes, at least for third party. At least for third party. And I wonder, because if you noticed in Nintendo Directs that you see third parties just either get jumped mostly into a sizzle reel, or jumped, like they only get like max like 15 to 30 seconds of airtime. So I do think that this partner showcase is a real, has real potential. It's just a matter of Nintendo putting in the right titles in these partner showcases that properly represents both the partner showcase name and the Nintendo Direct name. So it could be a good side micro presentation if Nintendo puts the right titles in it, not like what we saw in the pilot of this showcase. So it's worth noting. It's worth noting. But that, just because, if Nintendo takes this route, doesn't mean they shouldn't leave third parties out of general Nintendo Directs entirely. No. So our last topic for today, I know it's going to be a pretty short episode of Dylan Lasagna Live, but news has been dry. Let's talk a little bit about Nintendo's lack of transparency in regard to their second half lineup following this, before and after this Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase. Now, as much benefit of the doubt that we give Nintendo for the crappy Monday Nintendo Direct Mini, we have to wonder what's going on behind the scenes. We have to go, what's going on behind the scenes at Nintendo, not just on the Japanese front, but also on the American front. We would have at least heard something from Doug Bowser, or I forgot the president's name on the Japan side, or Nintendo would have at least given us some clarity, on what's currently going on in their company in this pandemic. Well, initially, a couple weeks ago, Nintendo Senior Market Managing Officer Shinya Takahashi previously commented earlier this month that games for the current fiscal year weren't impacted. But he also commented on this, and I quote, "While product development is a little behind schedule in some areas due to the impact of COVID-19, game releases planned for this year are currently not affected. However, if the impact of COVID-19 is prolonged or becomes more severe, we may not be able to release future titles in line with existing plans." When he said that quote, that was on July 3rd. And now it looks like Nintendo is backtracking on that statement, especially after the partner showcase. So this past Monday, Nintendo published their annual report, and one section details COVID-19's impact on game development. Shout out to Nintendo Everything for providing this quote. And I quote, "In terms of production and shipping, product supply may be impacted if issues involving the procurement of necessary components persist. In terms of sales channels may be restricted by measures to prevent the spread of the virus, including restrictions or movements outside the home and closures of retail stores. Development schedules may be impacted due to difference in development environment between working from home and in the office, since teleworking is implemented at the company and its partners. As a result, we may not be able to proceed with the release of Nintendo products and the start of services as planned. Nintendo will continue to conduct business operations by taking the necessary measures so that it can continue to provide an environment which customers can enjoy its products and services, while giving due consideration to the health and safety of its consumers and employees." The thing I like about Nintendo during this pandemic is that they're making sure that their employees are fully adjusted and they're safe and they're working well during this pandemic. From what I seen and heard on news articles and videos, that Nintendo only works their employees a full 40 hours a week. So that's always a good thing. They don't push their employees to the freaking beyond limit. However, while I do think that I do think that every company adjusts to working from home and remote development differently. I don't know. I just can't excuse Nintendo for not being more transparent with fans sooner. It's like all they've communicated with us prior to the direct announcement on Sunday night was Paper Mario, Animal Crossing, game tournaments. They haven't given us a hint. They should be giving us a hint of what's to come, but nothing. So it's definitely a blow that the video game industry was impacted when COVID-19 halted the video game production and releases, etc., etc. But let me give it to you straight. With 5 months remaining, with 5 months remaining in this calendar year, that is 2020, which has absolutely sucked. Bear in mind, Nintendo's got nothing, and I don't know if they plan to keep it that way, but investors are probably not gonna like it, pandemic or not. Now, if you compare that to the non-Nintendo games like Last of Us, Doom Eternal, Crash 4, Marvel's Avengers, Cyberpunk, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Halo Infinite, Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remake, Neo 2, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, even the crappy EA and 2K sports games that are going to be released on both current and next-gen hardware. You compare that to Nintendo's list of Animal Crossing, Paper Mario, Xenoblade, and Clubhouse games. That's pretty depressing. Someone made a good point on Twitter that as much as they like the Switch, the lineup has been devalued over the years. It's like game announcements have been kind of devalued on the Switch over the years. It's like in its first year, we got Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Splatoon 2, Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. A lot of good games in its first year. 2018, we mostly got ports and Mario Tennis Aces, and I forgot what else we got. And then Smash Bros. Ultimate, obviously. And then 2019, we got Mario Maker 2, Astral Chain, Luigi's Mansion 3. Damn. Oh, Fire Emblem 3 Houses. There were other games, but, I can't name them all. And then 2020, what do we even have? And then if you especially add the fact that Sony and Microsoft are doing everything they can to promote their next gen consoles coming this holiday year, and Sony actually doubling production for the PS5, Nintendo needs to reveal something. They need to get Switch owners excited for the rest of the year. And it's kind of a stretch, but next year too, but considering the pandemic, at least the rest of the year. And you have to get people excited, especially for those that only can afford a Switch, whose only console is a Switch. But again, in fairness, maybe Nintendo's waiting for Microsoft to have had their presentation, which was yesterday. And then they can lay out a date to have their series of presentations. But they're lucky. They were really lucky that Microsoft didn't come to play yesterday. They're really lucky. But either way, we need to hear something. We need to hear something where it's through a partner showcase, a direct mini, or a mainline full-fledged direct. We need to hear something about what's to come, not just from their third-party publishing partners, but from Nintendo themselves. What is cooking in the house of Mario? Unless if they're going to go into an August investors meeting with nothing on the docket, with nothing to show for at least September or October, well, they're going to lose a lot of trust in those investors and those in their publishing partners. And look, I get it. We are in a down year for not just Nintendo, but video games in general and worldwide in general. And I do appreciate Nintendo, like how they've been caring for their employees, and they're a really good video game company. And they're making sure that they're fully adjusted to working from home. And who knows, maybe they haven't settled into working from home, but it doesn't excuse me and others from being allowed to criticize Nintendo for their lack of communication. If outside of the quotes from what's his name? Sorry. Outside the quotes from Shinya Takahashi and others at Nintendo, you got to be more transparent. You have to be more transparent with your consumers, especially those that only have a Switch. And yes, you can make the argument of, oh, you just can't have a Switch. You have to have a Switch and another console. What if people can't afford another console? What if people don't want another console? You can't have that kind of thinking. And does it sound like I'm coming off as impatient? Yeah, perhaps. You can think of it that way. But you'll have to understand, it's just how I talk about WWE and AEW and how they're operating during this pandemic. If Nintendo just sits there and be complacent, they're going to pay for it. They're going to pay for it. It's how business works. If they're going to be complacent and be silent for the rest of the year, they're going to lose money. They're going to lose investor trust. And eventually, they're going to be stuck back into the Wii U dark days. No third-party support again. And who knows? Maybe people will stop buying the Switch. I don't want that to happen because the Switch is so damn good for it to be stuck into the Wii U's dark days. I don't want that to happen. So all in all, we've had a very crappy Nintendo Direct partner showcase. But at some point in time, I know Nintendo has to speak out about their plans for the rest of 2020. Or who knows, maybe they won't. They'll speak out, but they'll say that we're taking the rest of the year off because we can't develop. We'll have to delay our games planned for this year because of COVID. Just say it. Be open to your consumers. But we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. Anyway, everyone, that's all I got for you today. I know, short episode this week, but COVID-19 makes news dry, and I'm not a political person, and I don't like talking about that shit. But hopefully we do hear some more news, some more news involving Nintendo's first party titles, because I'm literally trying to go through all my games right now, my backlog of games, not just on my Nintendo Switch, but on my PC too. And I gotta say, I'm having a lot of fun playing through all these games, except for Yoshi's Crafted World, because they should really rename that game from Yoshi's Crafted World to Yoshi's Crappy World. It's just so goddamn easy that it makes it like some levels are just so goddamn rigged. But anyway. So that's it for Dylan Lasagna Live tonight. I'm gonna head out get some food. I don't know what I'm gonna eat tonight. Maybe some chicken. I'm craving me some chicken. But that's all I got for you tonight. What do you guys think about that Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase? Do you think there'll be another one? And if so, what do you think will be shown off? When do you think Nintendo will show some of their first party games? Do you think that there'll be this partner showcase format will be a future one for Nintendo? All these questions, let me know in the comments below. But anyway, everyone, I'm signing out. Make sure you like the stream, leave a comment, all that good stuff. And if you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Instagram and Twitter. Those links are always in the description. Anyway, everyone, always be delicious, and I will see you all next time. Take care, everyone. Happy Friday! Yeah, sped up music. Yeah. Who doesn't love sped up music? Alright, everyone. For real, no. Take care. Have a good weekend. Maybe a video or a stream on Sunday. Stay tuned. Otherwise, see you next time.